This video did not go according to plan. Yeah, it's a very specific opening line, and if I need to then continue and talk about electroshocks and execution. It was a wonderful night, such a night as is only possible when we are young, dear reader. The issue is that these type of stories are really hard to write. That being said, I'm not sure it's that good. So hi everyone, welcome to a new video. So today is another attempt at writing a short story for a contest. The contest it's quite cool. It's called retelling, and so I have two options. I can either take a character from a famous novel and replace him or her in another story, like in another time, or like with a completely different arc. Or I can take the opening like 3 sentences from, again, a famous book, and then just continue with my own story, but the elements of those first 3 lines need to be present and kind of prominent in the story. So yeah, I thought about it a bit, and I think I'm gonna go with the second option, just because I couldn't really get any ideas of a character that I would make my own and place it somewhere else in my own story. So I'm gonna go with the second option and pick a few openings and see which one I like best. So I've got my Kindle here, I've got my bookcase over there that we're gonna move to later, and for now I'm just gonna do some brainstorming, look at my favorite books and see what inspires me. One of my favorite books, The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I have read it, I don't know, countless times, but I don't remember the first few lines, so let's see how it starts. It was a queer, sultry summer, the summer they electrocuted the Rosenbergs, and I didn't know what I was doing in New York. I'm stupid about executions. So I don't think this would work really well. It's a very specific opening line, and if I need to then continue and talk about electroshocks and executions, I don't think it's the vibe that I want to write on. Okay, let's move on. I have here also Ulysses by James Joyce. Stately, plump Buck Mulligan came from the stairhead, bearing a ball of leather on which a mirror and a razor lay crossed. I don't think so, because this already gives me a character, and I don't want to do the character one. I want to do the other one, so it's a pass also on Ulysses. Let's see what else. This may be more complicated than I thought. Okay. Tender is the Night, my favorite book by Fitzgerald. Let's see how it starts. Probably something about the French Riviera, but let's see. On the pleasant shore of the French Riviera, called it, about halfway between Marseille and the Italian border, stands a large, proud, rose-colored hotel. So this one could work, because the only thing it gives me, it's a setting, and hotels are like good kind of settings for stories, because you can play with a lot of characters. It's really a non-descriptive start. I can really adapt it to pretty much any style and any story, so I think this is an option. Oh, I also have An Artist of the Floating World by Kazuo Ishiguro. Love this book too. Let's see. It starts with, if on a sunny day you climb the steep path leading up from the little wooden bridge still referred to around here as the Bridge of Hesitation, you will not have to walk far before the roof of my house becomes visible between the tops of 2 ginkgo trees. Again, I think it's a bit too precise. No, I think that's not the right take. So let's see. The last one I have here, which I think is a possibility, is White Nights by Dostoevsky. If I remember correctly, this one is quite general, the opening line, so I think it might work. It was a wonderful night, such a night as is only possible when we are young, dear reader. The sky was so starry, so bright that, looking at it, one could not help asking oneself whether ill-humored and capricious people could live under such a sky. So I think this also could work quite well, because the only thing that it gives me really, it's a setting. It's nighttime, and probably the character is quite young. So that's the only two things that I would need to feature in the rest of my story. So I think this one also work. So for now, the top two are White Nights and Tender is the Night. But let's see on my bookcase what else I have and if it could work. Okay, so please ignore how messy my bookcase is. I need to reorganize it. It was my birthday recently. Well, recently is like more than a month ago, but I received many books as gifts and I still need to probably unpack them and reorganize them all. So ignore that for now, but let's see what I have here. The Fitzgerald route, I have The Great Gatsby. I think this is gonna be a very specific start, but let's see. Chapter 1. In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning over in my mind ever since. Actually, this one is quite good. I mean, I would need to come up with an actual advice. It would need to feature a father figure. And yeah, I mean, this could potentially actually work as well. Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami, by far my favorite book ever. This one I read again almost every year. If I remember, the first line is quite specific, but let's see. I was 37 then, strapped in my seat as the huge 747 plunged through dense cloud cover on approach to the Hamburg airport. So this one gives me a quite specific location. Not only I am on a plane, but I also am landing in Hamburg, and I have a very specific age that is 37. So I think this is a bit too restrictive. I also don't really want to set a story in Hamburg. I went there once, but let's see. Anne of Green Gables. This is gonna be specific too, but let's see. Mrs. Rachel Lynde lived just where the Avonlea main road dipped down into a little hollow. Mrs. Dalloway? Mrs. Dalloway said she would buy the flowers herself. No. The Secret Garden. When Mary Lennox was sent to... No. Okay. Let's change genre. The Perks of Being a Wallflower. No, this one starts with a letter. August 25th, 1991. Dear friend, I'm writing to you because... And let's see, the last one. Never Let Me Go, another one by Kazu Ishiguro. My name is Kathy H. No, sorry. This gives me a character too. Okay. So to recap, I have 3 viable options. I have White Nights by Dostoevsky, the one that gave me only the setting at night, a young protagonist and stars. I have Tender is the Night. That one gives me a setting in the French Riviera and in a hotel. And the third, actually The Great Gatsby, that gave me just some advice that my father gave me. So I'm gonna do some thinking now while I have breakfast, and then I will let you know which one inspires me, and we can start writing. Okay, so it is an embarrassing amount of days later. This video did not go according to plan, and yet I am back many weeks later to finish it. So what happened is that life got a little bit screwed, and by that I mean a lot over the past few weeks. My work was insane. We had, I don't know, I had some deadlines and that kind of snowballed into bigger things than I expected, maybe something like this. So I pulled insane hours. I had to work really early in the morning and in the evening. And you know, it's these days when like you, every single hour of the day when you're working, you really need to focus a lot. So it's like extra effort compared to like a normal day. It's sort of like when you have to intensely study for an exam compared to when you're just reading casually. So it was a bit like that. And whenever I got home, I really didn't have the energy for anything else. Definitely not writing. I would kind of just eat and go to bed and then wake up the day after and repeat. On the weekends, I was also pretty beaten. I really am not a fan of overworking. This is not something that I want to publicize, just to say what happened. And plus, I got some really bad news from home. My dad is sick. I don't want to get into that either, but I have just, it's been tough. It's been a lot. So that's why I haven't really done any writing, and I haven't picked up the camera, and I never finished that video, or this video. So needless to say, I explained how it worked before, and so like based on the intro, like the first, I forgot the amount of characters now, the committee would choose people to send the rest of the story in. I obviously was not one of those, but it's fine. I mean, there were like 900 submissions and they chose like 30 people, so it was a long shot, but still that doesn't matter. What I want to do is I want to finish the story. If it's good, if I like it, I can still submit it to other places or things like that, but more importantly, I just want to get out of this funk. I want to start writing again, and I want to finish the story, even if it goes nowhere. So I wrote quite a bit before everything snowballed, or like in between, I think. I don't think it's particularly good, but at least it's words on a page. It's not finished. I think I need to write maybe the last third, and then I need to do some serious revision. So that's what I want to do today. Hi, so future Robbie here, coming to you from the editing world. I realized in the craziness that it has been filming this video that I never actually confirmed which intro I chose to then develop my own story. We read a bunch and I never told you in the end which one I went for. So I went for the White Nights by Dostoevsky. So yeah, let's start writing and see how it goes, and I'll update you in a few hours. Okay, so I basically finished the story and the tea, and I don't know. I am not super happy with it. I find that I often have the same issue. What I like to read often is, with obvious exception, but like what I really like to read are stories that are character driven, where the non. Sorry, this is the cat food that just came out. What I was saying is that what I like to read are stories that are really, often they're character driven more than like story driven, so where the psyche of the character is well analyzed, where a lot is happening in their heads, in their thoughts, their reactions to things, the way they see the world, and like they're really introspective, I guess. The issue is that these type of stories are really hard to write, but because I like them so much, I often gravitate towards writing things like this. But they are so difficult, so I'm really not sure my skills are up to there yet, but this is a bit where I went with this story, because obviously we all know the beginning of White Nights by Dostoevsky, which we all know also because I read it at the start of the video. But so it's a great start to have a story which is character driven, driven by the thoughts and the realizations of the character more than the story itself and the events or what happens, which in the end is also what White Nights is also kind of about and how it is structured. So I wanted to do something different but along the same lines, and I did it and it's finished, so I at least can check that box, which I managed to bring this to completion despite the difficult time that I had in the last few weeks. But that being said, I'm not sure it's that good, so I think I will leave it aside for now, and maybe I'll come back to it after dinner. I'll have one final revision and read through, and then I may just set it aside for a few more weeks. Okay, so I reread the story. Sorry about the noise, that's my cats playing with the balls. Yeah, so I reread the story one last time. I think I'm almost there. I think it's alright. It needs probably a little bit more refining, but as I said, I will leave it be for a few weeks and maybe come back to it later. But still, I'm happy that I managed to get back into my writing. I'm happy that I managed to end the story and finish it. For a while there, it seemed like I wouldn't be able to. And yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a night for today and then try again tomorrow fresh with summer writing. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I'll see you later. Ciao!